Hello and a warm welcome to South Asia Today, where we bring you in-depth insights into the key events shaping South Asia. I'm Shivanga Mishra, and now today's top stories. India's growing paper revolution goes green. Bangladesh's Gen Z demand change, jobs ahead of national polls. And earthquake survivors in Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir face decades of neglect. Let's begin the show. Eco-friendly initiatives and a growing push for sustainable living are reshaping India's paper and packaging sector. As consumers' demand rapidly shift from plastic to paper-based alternatives, the industry is gaining momentum. Backed by innovation, agro-based and recycled materials, and strong policy support, the sector is expanding swiftly. With rising demand from packaging, food delivery, and retail, India's paper industry isn't just growing, it's building a greener future.
On a bustling New Delhi lane, Akanksha sips her coffee from a paper cup, stopping at a stall that serves snacks on eco-friendly plates. Her smile reflects a choice that matters, small changes for a sustainable future. Passionate about the environment, she consciously supports brands and eateries that minimize plastic use. Like Akanksha, many are embracing eco-conscious habits, turning everyday choice into a quiet green revolution.
मैं जब पहले स्ट्रीट फूड वगैरह के लिए जाती तो वहाँ पे आई गेस हम सब ने एक्सपीरियंस किया होगा कि प्लास्टिक पेपर्स एंड प्लास्टिक स्पून्स यूज़ होते थे जिसको हम यूज़ करके फेंक देते थे एंड देन वो इजीली डिकम्पोजेबल नहीं होता है बट अब मैंने ये चेंज देखा है कि जितने भी स्ट्रीट फूड है हमारे वो सब अब प्लास्टिक पेपर्स प्लास्टिक कप्स इवन वुडन स्पून्स यूज़ कर रहे हैं विच इज़ अ वेरी गुड इनिशिएटिव.
What was once an exception is now becoming the norm. Across cities and towns, consumers and businesses alike are embracing paper-based packaging, cups, plates, straws, and recycled bags replacing plastic. Moving beyond single-use plastics, packaging today is no longer just convenience, it's a responsibility.
Customer is very conscious about the usage of plastic. They want an alternate to the plastic, and when we say environmentally friendly alternate, then what is better than paper? So we are seeing a lot of connection with the today's customer's psyche with paper. We are quite upbeat for next at least 1 decade. I would say this is really going to go up. We are expecting a CAGR of more than 10%.
The PaperX event, recently held in New Delhi, brought together global industry leaders to showcase innovations and sustainable solutions across paper, pulp, packaging, and allied sectors. With over 700 exhibitors from 25 plus countries and more than 33,000 trade visitors, the event highlighted everything from raw materials and manufacturing machinery to finished paper and packaging solutions.
I think paper demand is growing continuously, and I think many of the agencies has predicted a next 5 to 10 year demand growing at a CAGR of more than 7 to 10%. And definitely packaging is the one bigger area where the demand is coming, and as soon as the same is for the writing and printing paper.
In last 2 years, as we can see, like government is supporting us, like they providing us subsidy. If we want to participate in the exhibition in domestic and in export, they support us, they provide the subsidy also. And here in India, if you are planning to go into manufacturing, they provide you financial support also, and they provide you to grow in export market. There are many schemes from governments they are providing to manufacture to increase the export.
India's paper and packaging industry is witnessing strong growth, ranking as the world's 15th largest paper producer with over 600 mills nationwide. Driven by rising demand from food delivery, quick service restaurants, e-commerce and retail, India has emerged as the world's third largest packaging market, valued at $86 billion US. In New Delhi, business leader Yashank Bhutani oversees paper supply operations, balancing customer engagement with business expansion. Despite rapid digitalization, he believes paper demand continues to rise, with agro-based paper production offering one of the most sustainable path forward for the industry.
तो ये जो तीसरे तरह का पेपर मैं आपको बता रहा हूँ, ये एज गुड एज ए ग्रेड पेपर होता है, जो वुड चिप पेपर होता है, और इसमें कोई इन्वायरमेंट को हार्म भी नहीं होता. तो मुझे लगता है कि हमारे पास आजकल ऐसी टेक्नोलॉजी आ गई है कि हम लोग अच्छे से अच्छा पेपर बना सकते हैं और बिना इन्वायरमेंट को हार्म पहुंचाए.
As the industry expands, recycling has become a cornerstone of the paper sector's sustainability journey. Advances in recycling technologies have significantly improved the strength, quality and hygiene of recycled paper, making it suitable for packaging, paper bags, cartons and corrugated boxes used by brands and retailers.
जो टोटल प्रोडक्शन है उसका 20% है एग्रो फॉरेस्ट्री है, नॉट फॉरेस्ट. किसान उसे पैदा करते हैं, उनसे हम खरीदते हैं, एज ए क्रॉप वो पैदा करते हैं. बाकी 80% कागज़ एग्रीकल्चर वेस्ट और रिसाइकिल से बनता है. जो हम सड़कों पे कागज़ फेंक जाता है, जो घरों में इकट्ठा तो उससे बनाते हैं. तो बेसिक फाइबर तो वुड से ही आएगा, फॉरेस्ट्री से आएगा, तो उसके लिए भी हम ग्रो कर रहे हैं. तो 80% को रिसाइकिल कर रहे हैं.
Government support has played a crucial role in this shift, from promoting agro-based industries and incentivizing recycling to banning single-use plastics and strengthening MSMEs. Policy measures have built a strong foundation for sustainable manufacturing. As consumers, brands and policymakers move in step, the paper industry is poised to shape a greener, more sustainable future.
Bangladesh is heading into a crucial national election next month amid prolonged political uncertainty, economic strain, and lingering unrest, with Gen Z voters emerging as a decisive force. For millions voting for the first time, the polls follow months of upheaval that disrupted daily life and eroded trust in governance. Young voters see the election as a chance for stability and democratic renewal, though skepticism remains high across the divided nation. We have this report. Bangladesh is heading into a crucial national election next month amid prolonged political uncertainty, economic stress, and lingering unrest, with Gen Z voters emerging as a decisive force. For millions of young Bangladeshis voting for the first time, the polls come after months of political chaos that disrupted daily life, weakened political trust, and deepened concerns over governance. 25 years old, Dhaka University student H.M. Amirul Kareem said the youth want politics to move beyond rigid party lines.
What we saw in the previous regime or in the previous time, that the people of Bangladesh were treated politically, that which political bloc they belong to. But I want to see a change in this perspective, that the people of this country will not be treated politically for their political, the political bloc or political party affiliation. But I hope that the people of this land will be treated as a citizen. They will be given the citizen rights, the basic rights. They will be treated only as citizens, not with their political affiliation.
Young voters say the election represents an opportunity to move the country away from instability and toward democratic normalcy. Many believe that an elected government is essential to restoring institutional order and preventing further political drift. However, skepticism remains high, with fears that old political practices could resurface despite promises of reform. Not all young voters share the same optimism. 23-year-old, a youth activist, Hema Chakma expressed disappointment over what she sees as unfulfilled promises following last year's youth-led movement. Others believe political parties are focusing more on vote banks than real reforms.
একটা প্রবাদ খুব করে চলছে এখন যে মানে পুরাতন বোতলে নতুন মদ বা নতুন বোতলে পুরাতন মদ এরকম কিছু একটা প্রবাদ আসলে চলছে। সো আমার কাছে মনে হয় যে এই যে আগের যে ট্র্যাডিশনটা যে পলিটিক্যাল যে চাওয়া পাওয়া বা গণতান্ত্রিক অধিকার এগুলার জন্য আন্দোলনটা করলেও আমার কাছে মনে হয় এই পর্যায়ে এসে এটা কিছু পার্টিকুলার মানুষদের জন্য ভালো হয়েছে, বাট ওভারঅল যে সর্বসাধারণ যে মানুষজন বা জনগণ তাদের কাছে যে চাওয়া পাওয়াটা সেটা আসলে হচ্ছে না আর কি। আমার কাছে মনে হয় যে ওই আগের ধারাটাই চলছে এখনও, বরং আমার কাছে মনে হয় যে এই নতুন বাংলাদেশ আমরা যেটার কথা বলছি সেটার অবস্থা আরও বেশি খারাপ হয়ে গিয়েছে।
In 2024, millions of Gen Z Bangladeshis led an uprising that ended nearly 16 years of iron-fisted rule, forcing the then Prime Minister to flee after violent unrest. As the nation heads to the polls, the generation could once again shape history, determined to defend democracy but wary of old patterns repeating. As Bangladesh moves closer to the polls, the mood among Gen Z voters captures the country's crossroads moment. Shaped by political chaos and mass unrest, this generation is demanding stability, accountability, and opportunity, not just rhetoric. Whether the election delivers real change or repeats old patterns, the choices made now will determine if Bangladesh turns the page on turmoil or remains trapped in a familiar cycle of uncertainty. Now we take a look at some happenings in Asia in a segment called Asia Watch.
India signed the biggest deal in its history with the European Union, said Prime Minister Narendra Modi after both sides finalized a long-pending landmark trade deal, as they seek to hedge against fickle ties with the US. The deal is expected to double EU exports to India by 2032, by eliminating or reducing tariffs in 96.6% of traded goods by value, and will lead to savings of €4 billion, $4.75 billion, in duties for European companies, the EU said. The EU will cut tariffs on 99.5% goods traded over 7 years, with tariffs to be cut to zero on Indian marine goods, leather and textile products, chemicals, rubber, base metals, and gems and jewelry, India's trade ministry said in a statement. India is slashing tariffs on alcoholic beverages like wines to 75% immediately from 150%, which would be lowered to 20% gradually. Tariffs on spirits will be lowered to 40%, the EU said. The deal will also cut tariffs on a slew of EU goods coming to India, including machinery, electrical equipment, chemicals, and iron and steel. Diana Abadi has spent the past 12 years rescuing and sheltering cats in Lebanon, turning her home and small shop into a refuge for about 70 felines. The 57-year-old shares her living space with the animals, often sleeping among them. Abadi is now struggling to keep the shelter running as costs rise and donations dry up. The rent for her property, which doubles as her store and shelter, has climbed to $800 a month from $250 before the war, placing heavy strain on her finances. During the recent war between Hezbollah and Israel, Abadi faced additional challenges when she tried to move away from the conflict zone. She said no landlord would rent to her because of the number of cats she keeps. Despite being urged to leave the animals behind, she refused. A woman in Bishamun, near Beirut, eventually offered Abadi temporary refuge. She transported the cats using several taxis, paying a total of $400 for the journey. After the ceasefire, Abadi returned to her home, making repeated trips to bring the cats back. Abadi looks for ways to raise money, including selling cat food, litter, and small potted plants to cover daily expenses. A UN expert on Iran said she had received reports of protesters linked to nationwide demonstrations being removed from hospitals and detained by Iranian security forces, a major violation of the right to medical care under international law. United Nations Special Rapporteur on Iran, Mai Sato, also told Reuters in an interview via video link that families were facing demands for ransoms of $5,000 to $7,000 to retrieve the bodies of loved ones, a crushing burden amid Iran's mounting economic woes. Anti-government protests that swept across Iran since December have triggered the bloodiest crackdown by authorities since the 1979 Islamic Revolution, drawing international condemnation. Iran has blocked internet access since January 8th. US-based rights group Harana has put the unrest-related death toll at 5,937, including 214 security personnel, while official figures put the death toll at 3,117. Reuters has been unable to independently verify the numbers. Medical staff in Iran who spoke to Reuters on condition of anonymity confirmed some of the reports to which Sato referred. One nurse and two doctors at hospitals in Tehran also told Reuters that members of the Revolutionary Guards and police had visited their facilities seeking records of protesters who had been hospitalized and then discharged in order to arrest them. Sato said Iranian attempts to label the protesters as terrorists or rioters was deeply problematic and was intended to justify a brutal crackdown on what she described as a local, organic movement.
Even after 21 long years, the wounds of the devastating earthquake remain unhealed in Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir. Rehabilitation remains a cruel illusion for thousands of victims abandoned by the state. Billions were sanctioned, yet hundreds of projects are incomplete or defunct. Children are forced to study under the open sky, while so-called satellite towns in Muzaffarabad exist without water or basic services. This is not neglect by chance, but a chronic neglect and a complete failure of governance. We have a report.
Years after the devastating earthquake, life has still not returned to normal for thousands in Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir. Temporary arrangements have turned into a permanent reality as rehabilitation drags on endlessly. Development projects launched with much fanfare remain incomplete, while essential services are missing on the ground. The impact is most visible in the lives of children and displaced families, who continue to endure hardship, uncertainty, and neglect, waiting for relief that was promised but never fully delivered.
आज़ाद जम्मू कश्मीर जो आज से 2 दिहाइयाँ कबल यानी 21वां साल जा रहा है ज़लज़ला को, जो ज़लज़ला यहाँ आया, वफाकी हुकूमत ने यहाँ बहाली के हवाले से एक अदारा बनाया ईरा, और जिसने कमोबेश 7,500 से ज़ायद मंसूबों का आगाज़ किया, उसका प्लान किया और तामीर नौ का ऐलान किया। मुख्तलिफ स्कूल, कॉलेजेस, सेहत आमा के हॉस्पिटल्स और सरकारी अमला जो भी थी, और आम आवाम की बहाली के हवाले से घरों की तामीर। इस वक्त ईरा ने जो आज़ाद जम्मू कश्मीर में कमोबेश 4,000 मनसूबे मुकम्मल किए, और तकरीबन 3,500 से या 4,000 के करीब जो मनसूबे बाकी बचते हैं, उन पर कुछ मनसूबे जारी थे, इब्तदाई मरहल में थे, कुछ दरमियानी मरहल में थे और कुछ तकमीली मरहल में थे, और कुछ को शुरू नहीं किया जा सका। लेकिन जो मनसूबे शुरू हुए उन पर अरबों का काम, अरबों रुपए खर्च हुए, लेकिन बदकिस्मती से वो तकमील के मरहले तक ना पहुँच सके।
Poor planning and official apathy have turned promised rehabilitation into prolonged suffering. Families meant to be relocated to newly built satellite towns remain stuck in uncertainty as these settlements lack even the most basic facilities. Despite years of construction and massive public spending, essentials like water have not been provided, making daily life impossible. As a result, many affected families are unable to move in, exposing how flawed planning and negligence continue to deny earthquake victims a dignified and sustainable future.
मुज़फ़्फ़राबाद में शहरियों के लिए जो जगह रहने के काबिल नहीं रही, 2 सैटेलाइट टाउन, नंगलपुरा और ठोठा मॉडल विलेज, इसके लिए प्लानिंग की गई। लाइट और नगरपुरा में इस वक्त गुज़श्ता 5 सालों से अब लोग वहाँ अपने घर बना रहे हैं, लेकिन बदकिस्मती आप देख लीजिए पानी का मामला अभी तक हल नहीं हुआ। यानी कि आप यूँ समझ लीजिए कि अरबों रुपए उस मंसूबे पर सरकार के खर्च हुए और तो सड़कें बनी, उसकी गलियाँ बनी, उसके दीगर चीज़ें आ गई, लेकिन शजरकारी का मामला है। यानी हुकूमत अगर हर मौसम जो बरसाती मौसम है, मौसम बहार है, उसमें अगर 10-10 दरख्त भी लगाती तो आज इन 2 सालों में 10 सालों में काफ़ी अच्छा वहाँ सब्ज़ा हो जाता। इसके अलावा पानी बुनियादी ज़रूरत है। पानी की कनेक्शन ना होने से आबादी वहाँ कैसे रहेगी?
Beyond stalled rehabilitation, daily life remains a struggle for residents across the region. Overcrowded cities face severe traffic congestion, broken roads, and poor urban planning. Basic cleanliness is neglected, drainage systems are choked, and public services remain overstretched. With no effective governance or long-term vision, population pressure continues to rise, worsening living conditions. The absence of sustainable development has left people battling hardship every day, highlighting a deep governance failure that continues to impact ordinary lives.
A remarkable transformation is taking place in Rajouri, Jammu and Kashmir, as unemployed youths are turning the region's cold water streams into thriving trout fish farms. Under the centrally sponsored the Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana scheme, blocks like Budhal, Kotranka, Thana Mandi, and Darhal in the higher reaches of the Pir Panjal range are witnessing a revolution in aquaculture, perfectly utilizing the natural topography to boost livelihoods and economic growth in the region. Have a look.
A new wave of economic growth is sweeping through Jammu and Kashmir's Rajouri district as unemployed youth are embracing trout fish farming in the higher reaches of the Pir Panjal range. Under the Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana, centrally sponsored scheme, areas like Budhal, Kotranka, Thana Mandi and Darhal are being transformed into modern aquaculture hubs, turning natural cold water streams into sustainable livelihoods and showcasing the region's potential for innovative rural development.
तो जो ब्रीडिंग सीज़न है यही यहाँ पर जो है दिसंबर जनवरी में ही होती है। इस वक्त ब्रीडिंग स्टार्ट है। तो यहाँ जो हमारा जो ब्रीडिंग करके जो हम जो सीड तैयार करते हैं, इस सीड की सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट ने जो है मतलब प्राइवेट जो बेरोज़गार लोग हैं उनके लिए बहुत अच्छी स्कीम रखी हुई है। बहुत इन लोगों को बहुत फ़ायदा हो रहा है। आप यूनिट जाके देख भी सकते हैं, तो खुद ही उन लोगों से पूछ सकते हैं कि आप हमको कितना फ़ायदा है। मैं ये जो ऐसे लोगों को मैं यही मतलब मैसेज दूंगा कि जिन लोगों के पास वाटर सोर्स है और ज़मीन है तो वो हमारे डिपार्टमेंट के साथ आएँ, हमारे डिपार्टमेंट से जुड़ें।
Innovation is bringing new opportunities to the youth of Rajouri in Jammu and Kashmir. The Falni Trout Hatchery is playing a pivotal role by supplying high-quality fingerlings, enabling local entrepreneurs to start modern trout farming. Leveraging the naturally cold and oxygen-rich streams of the Pir Panjal range, blocks like Budhal, Kotranka, Thana Mandi and Darhal are witnessing a boost in sustainable livelihoods and aquaculture-driven economic growth.
मैं हर एक नौजवान से गुजारिश करता हूँ कि गवर्नमेंट की अच्छी स्कीम है, ये ट्रोट फिश की अच्छी स्कीम है, ये ले डिपार्टमेंट से ले। आप हमारे पानी की हमें कोई कमी नहीं, हमारा ठंडा पानी 12 महीने हमारा ठंडा पानी रहता है। हर आदमी मेहनत करे और मेहनत करके तो ये यूनिट तैयार करे और मछली पालन का काम शुरू करे। इसमें गवर्नमेंट ने बहुत अच्छी स्कीमें रखी हुई हैं।
बहुत मशहूर हूँ मोदी सरकार का। तो मुझे एक यूनिट दिया, मैं उसका काम अच्छे से चलाया। 2 साल मैंने रखा है, फिश रखा है। 50,000 की एक बार बेची, 50,000 की दूसरी बार बेची मैंने। तो बना के तैयार करके अच्छे से तकरीबन किलो 700 ग्राम 800 ग्राम इतना पीस मैंने तैयार किया।
Under this scheme, young entrepreneurs are turning job seekers into job providers by establishing trout farming units with concrete raceways along mountain streams. This not only generates sustainable income but also promotes environmentally responsible practices, making the program highly beneficial for local livelihoods and providing a strong boost to youth-led economic growth in the region.
बेरोज़गार है उनके पास एक बड़ा अच्छा सोर्स है ये रोज़गार का। काफ़ी लोग जुड़ भी रहे हैं डिपार्टमेंट से हर साल नए हम इस साल भी करीब 3 या 4 यूनिट्स दे चुके हैं प्राइवेट। लोगों को काफ़ी फ़ायदा है, एक बड़ा अच्छा सोर्स है उनके लिए रोज़गार का ये। आप अंदर देख चुके हैं ब्रीडिंग चल रही है इस टाइम पे। अभी हम तैयार करेंगे मछली और करीब 3 या 4 महीने बाद पहले तो सीड सेल करेंगे, उसके बाद जो खुद के पास रह जाएगी हम तैयार करके उसको आगे ब्रीडिंग के लिए भी तैयार करेंगे और उसमें से सेल के लिए भी निकालेंगे मछली।
The remarkable growth of trout fish farming in Rajouri highlights how innovative initiatives can transform local economies and empower youth. By leveraging the natural cold water streams of the Pir Panjal range and combining them with strong government support through Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana and Holistic Agriculture Development Program, unemployed youngsters are becoming entrepreneurs, generating sustainable livelihoods while protecting the environment. This success story reflects the proactive governance and forward-looking development policies of the Jammu and Kashmir administration, underscoring its commitment to inclusive growth and rural prosperity.
As we wrap up today's episode of South Asia Today, we thank you for joining us. We'll return next week at the same time with more insights and updates. This is Shivanga Mishra signing off on behalf of our entire team. Until then, stay safe and goodbye.